guys, it's Jouelzy. Sorry I don't have a pretty background. I'm packing my stuff up because I am in the process of moving across the country. Gosh, this is nerve-wracking. Since so many of you have been requesting and goading and Facebooking and Instagramming and tweeting me about this whole episode of CurlyNikki.com trolling an article about the white girl and her natural hair and what my opinion on the matter is, as if you couldn't already tell, I am finally going to address it 2 weeks after the fact. I know I am late to the party. Truth is, the party don't start till I walk through the door. So, boom, here Jouelzy is. I guess it's only appropriate to drink tea since when CurlyNikki did her response, she brought Kermit the Frog into it, sipped on his limited tea. But I'm bougie and I drink tea Havana. But y'all need to let Kermit the Frog go back to teaching the little kids the alphabet. Leave Kermit out of this. I don't believe that Jim Henson would approve. Okay? You know, before we even get to my opinion, I think, because y'all know I talk a little fast, I'm a little educated ratchet, you should definitely check out India of Natural Hair Sisters. Is it My Natural? Yeah, that. I'm subscribed, but I just never remember if it's My Natural Sisters or Natural Hair Sisters. She did a video about it, and I think she has very good decorum when she speaks, so check her out. Also, I think very astute in her response was Kimberly Foster of 4Harriets.com. She did a video that kind of talks about it, and she has that Ivy League degree, and she flexed it all up in that video. I think they are both worth watching before we get into my stream of consciousness here. Okay. So to address what the issue has turned into, I don't believe this is the actual issue with the article about whether or not white women have the right to be included in the natural hair community. I feel like people are being very surface level with this article. But let's address that first. I have no problem with white women who want to join in to the natural hair community. But let's hyphen that before you get all up in arms here. You can join as a supporter. I'm never going to say that white women cannot be a part of the natural hair movement, because there are white women who are mothers of black children or mixed ethnicity children who would be included in that natural hair spectrum of what it was originally started. I am a big fan, repeatedly over ad nauseum, of chocolate hair, vanilla hair, where Rory, a white woman who has not only a black child, but a black child with highly textured, kinky hair, and she be slaying all the hopes and dreams of like 90% of black mothers out here, because she be putting it down on Boo's hair. Like all like down, down, down. And so I'm just not gonna come on here and be like, white women can't be a part of the natural hair community. I did a panel at International Hair Meetup Day a couple months ago, and the question was posed to the panel about a woman having quite a few white friends who use information from the natural hair community, like they use our similar products as us, and they would love to come to natural hair events to get more access and information because they utilize that information for their curly hair, but they don't feel comfortable. And my response was, they have every right to come to the event, but don't expect anybody to go out of their way to make them feel included. As a black woman, it's just we spend so much of our lives combating negative stereotypes and being the only one in the room and being uncomfortable at some point in time when we enter into the room, that for them to like once in their life feel like, oh, I'm the like minority here right now. This is a new feeling. Girl, you can just get over it and just come on and get you some conditioner. It's really not that serious. Like, facts only, the natural hair community was not started for white women. It was started because black women were having issues finding information on how to care for their hair and finding acceptance for them wearing their natural hair texture. Now, the quandary kind of comes in because what is a black woman? That is a very diverse spectrum. And I feel like that's why there's such a schism in this discussion, because you kind of get into this gray area, right? We have the core. There are those of us who sit firmly in as identifiable as black women. There are some of us that kind of move into the gray area of the Afro-Latina, you know, the light-skinned and wavy, the mixed ethnicity, that kind of sit more out in the gray. And so it's like, well, if you're going to accept a I believe Hey Fran is Dominican. I might be wrong. But if you're going to accept a Hey Fran Hey as part of the natural hair community, why wouldn't you accept a sun-kissed Alba? Right? But I don't have time. It's not a battle that I'm trying to fight. I don't have time to go around patrolling who feels like how much someone has to identify as black in order to be a part of the natural hair community. Technically, if your skin has a hint of melanin and your hair has a hint of wave or curl, you are included. There are people that have kinkier textures of hair than someone like quite a few of the popular natural hair gurus out here, because like it's silky and y'all like it wavy, and there's people that have kinkier textures than that. Why can't they then be included in this community, even if they firmly identify more with the other ethnicities that they represent? I say, you know what? As long as we can represent the full spectrum, and that has always been my issue. That has always been my issue. Even with the texture discrimination video, it's not that we can't represent looser hair textures or these people that kind of sit on the fringe of the natural hair community. I just don't want to only sit on the fringe of the natural hair community. We need to represent the full spectrum. But that's why it gets very hard to say that the natural hair community is only for black women, because black women is such a diverse spectrum of people. And then the natural hair community in the more recent years has sat so firmly on the fringe that how you going to turn around and then just say because her skin is a drop too pale that she can't be a part of this community. Okay, all right, so that's that. However, I do still feel like the natural hair community was created for the highly textured black women, and it's just moved into the represent more of the diversity of black women, and there's no problem with it. But when it comes to a woman who is distinctly white, the issue that I have with the CurlyNikki article is not that she featured a white woman. And why I want to stress it is CurlyNikki.com. CurlyNikki, the person, don't even really be writing that many CurlyNikki posts anymore. Facts only here. I don't know that the website is owned by Naturally Curly, but it is part of their textured media ad network, and Naturally Curly funnels a lot of the content on to CurlyNikki.com. So I don't know that the onus for this article is on CurlyNikki. It really might have just been somebody in the Naturally Curly office, and then I don't particularly feel like the onus is on Water Lily Sarah, except for she going to take some onus for the BSS tweets she was sending out when people started clapping at her, and she like can't even clap on beat back at other folk. It was just a struggle, girl. Why would you frame it as if she has the right to tell black women how to accept their natural hair? It's the same issue that I take with the baby hair brigade trying to tell us in their non-response videos, talking about you just need to accept your hair. You shouldn't be concerned that your hair texture isn't represented. You like, come on, girl. You don't walk in my shoes. You don't have any reference for what I've been through and what my struggles are. You can't just flat out dismiss without trying to understand where they come from, and in that way help them to get over their hump. And with regards to Sarah, pre the tweets, just her being featured on the blog, the onus really isn't on her either, because if I'm a person who isn't necessarily part of the core of a community, right? I'm an outlier, and I'm someone who's peeping in, but I find that the information this community is providing is relevant to some portion of my daily life. Well, hey, I want to let you guys know how much you've benefited me as a supporter. But I don't really have any frame of reference for how you guys go about things on a day-to-day, because I don't walk in your shoes. But I think what does it hurt for at least let me submit myself and let them know that I'm even here and that I appreciate what they're doing. I'm going in this blindly as a supporter, right? Which to me is fine. It's fine for a white woman to come in as a supporter of the natural hair movement. I'm thinking, one, it's a website ran by a black woman. So I'm thinking CurlyNikki's still reading all the posts. We don't know whether or not she reads the posts. I'm sitting on the side that she does not. That Naturally Curly puts them up. But that's not a fact that I can state. So I don't know. But I submit the art. I submit myself for the Naturally Glam feature. And I'm thinking a black woman is going to read this. And a black woman is going to take in and edit this post. And a black woman is going to tell me what about my article is or isn't okay. And so when I send you my pictures and you see clearly that I'm a white woman and you send me a list of questions to answer, I'm thinking, all right, well, the black woman sent it to me, so I'm just going to answer it as honestly as possible. So when she's answering, did you big chop or did you transition? And she says, no, I just took my hair out of a bun in a French braid. This is a learning opportunity. Someone should have learned her, someone should have taught her that it's okay for you to come in as a supporter, but you can't, in your loving, knowing ignorance, I'm about to get political here in a second, become an arrogant perceiver or supporter of this movement and feel like you have any right to tell black women how to navigate this space. And so that really comes down to whoever edited that article, whether it actually was CurlyNikki or someone at Naturally Curly. They should have took it a minute and said, hey, we can represent, we can show her, but why don't we showcase her as a supporter of the natural hair? Why don't we show how beneficial our community is to the outside in this article? That would have been a great discussion. Because as natural hair vloggers, we get a lot of flack for being too pointed at black women, and our networks and our other brands don't know how to work with us because their BS reason is we're not diverse enough. I have an issue with the way the article was positioned and the tone. And whoever sent her them questions and whoever edited down that article and whoever hit the publish button is the one that's at the wrong, because at no point did they tell Sarah, hey girl, this is how we're gonna talk about you being a part of the natural hair community. And honestly, I feel it is quite hypocritical of CurlyNikki in her response to say that everyone who has responded to the video is only doing it for page views. Not that people aren't, because I'm only doing this video because I know y'all finna watch. Click on one of them ads, help me get some coins here. But I feel like that article was only posted because, and in that vein, because you know it's going to get a ton of comments. You know it's going to get shared. Because there's no way to have this discussion without sharing the original article. People are going to click the article, read the article, and now you've upped your Google AdSense coins. So who isn't trolling in this situation? Who isn't taking advantage of clickbait right now? Who's not? So let's call a spade on this. What really kind of stuck out to me in this whole situation is this reminded me of a essay by Marian Ortega. Being lovingly, knowingly ignorant, white feminism and white women of color. So she wrote this essay back in 2006, and she's kind of addressing, as a woman of color, taking issue with the lack of representation in the feminist movement, and then having white women who think because they've read a few books or they have one or two friends or they've watched, some movies, having them try to tell her how to deal with the complexities of being a woman of color and being a feminist in today's society. Because I think this really kind of drives home what I'm trying to say about how a white woman can be a supporter of the natural hair community, but at no point is she allowed to come in and tell us how to be with her hair. She can provide information. She can uplift and further along the movement. And I think there are white women who have done very well of that. I don't have an issue with Naturally Curly being owned by white women, because I feel like for the most part, they are very supportive and transparent about the fact that they started that website because they wanted something for women with curly hair, and black women kind of jumped on, have evolved to cover the full spectrum of textured hair, including wavy to kinky, but they come to them and they developed to fit their consumer needs. And whether some of that is capitalistic or not, you can't blame them. So that's that. And I doubly can't blame them, because more so than other black women, Naturally Curly has been very supportive of the kinky hair textures. They were one of the first outlets to support me when I started doing videos specific to type 4C hair. So when a lot of my peers who look a little bit more like me are sitting here trying to deny the fact that, to this day, even my texture discrimination video, try to deny the prevalence of textured hair. But back to Marian Ortega. The loving perceiver does not consume the object of perception. Rather than completely simplifying that which is perceived, the loving eye is careful to see its complexities and understand the boundaries between the loving perceiver and that which is perceived. Basically, what she is saying here, in context to white women in the natural hair community, is that they can see the community, they can see the benefits of the community, they can absorb the information of the community, but when they decide to step foot in that community, they have to understand the complexities that exist and be respectful of that. And even Sarah had to acknowledge in between using the Urban Dictionary definition of natural hair. Because if we were in a debate and I used the Urban Dictionary definition of anything, my entire intelligence would be devalued. But we won't even go there. But basically what Sarah was suffering from is wanting, a great wanting. Because of this wanting, we simplify, embed, and expect the world to be specific, to be a specific way, rather than investigating it, asking questions to know more about it. Shout out to Mariana Ortega. Just shutting down shit. Just blessing y'all with a think piece that is of benefits. Y'all have to read this. It is the mode of arrogant perception whose alleged aim is to not simply to coerce or dominate or to deter. And so I'm just going to close out with this from Mariana Ortega. This will be it, and this will encapsulate my opinion on the matter. Arrogant ignorance is arrogant perception that does not make any attempt to understand the object of perception, and the perceiver wishes to make knowledge claims about the object of perception even though such claims are not checked or questioned. So, with all that said, I don't have an issue with white women entering into the space of natural hair community as supporters and uplifters, but I do have an issue with them taking the approach of having anything factual to say about what we need to do and trying to tell or try to simplify our experience as if they can relate to it. It's offensive. Bottom line. For all the black women that wanted to simplify the issue as well and make it just about white and black and inclusive or exclusiveness, you know, I find it very interesting that the same women who support and are at bat and can put out statements of support and at Water Lily and let her know how good she's doing had shit to say or had negative things to say about my video on texture discrimination. I guess I can only ever support other people with baby hairs, huh? Oh well.